Hey, what's going on, everybody? I'm Cameron Kelly, and welcome to Row Access. I just want to take a few minutes to talk to you guys. If you're here, you probably found us through some form of social media related to welding. So, of course, that's what we're here to do. We want to bring you front row access to getting your row access to getting on the pipeline, which is where the name came from. A little bit of background on me. I'm Cameron Kelly. I'm 27. I'm originally from South Carolina. Graduated high school from a little tiny small town. Right after high school, I went to college for a little bit, said, this is stupid, I want to go to work. And so I took a job in a boiler house. I got hired on as a fire watch and then basically worked as a helper during my time there. Took a little bit of a break, went to the fire academy to be a firefighter. That fell through, and then I went back to the boiler house work and stuck that out until I joined the Army in 2012 and then kind of left it behind. So I joined the Army in 2012. I did that until I injured my back in 2015. Did a good long course of rehab and ended up getting out of the military, and then decided to go off to college and go to medical school or pharmacy school or something like that. And that's kind of been my path the last couple of years until I just got to be a little bit too much, I just decided to step away from it, maybe try something else. And then I got offered the job that I'm currently working at. So I actually currently live in a little small town called Freihung, which is outside of Vilseck, Germany. So if you've been around the military or you know anybody that's there, I'm also really close to Grafenwehr, which is the little post that's connected to us. Vilseck is a little lesser known, but anyhow. So I moved over here earlier this year, decided, I'll do some online school, maybe apply to pharmacy school, and that'll just be my path. And I applied to pharmacy school and I didn't get in. And so I, had a couple bad semesters like anybody in college, and it was really a bad time to apply into the semester or end of the application season. So I decided, hey, you know what? Maybe I should take a different path. And so I kind of made a joke with my buddy, like, hey, if I don't get this job, I'm going to come work for you. And he's a pipeline inspector, and he was like, yeah, come on, we'll make it happen. And I was like, oh, wow, so maybe this is what I'll do. And he was like, but, if you want to make good money, maybe you should go be a welder. You already have a little bit of welding experience. And, like I do some hobby welding, MIG welding mostly. And I was like, well, I'm sure I could learn, but don't they make about the same money that you make? And he was like, no, they make twice as much. And so from people that I had worked with in the boiler house, I knew basically what they made versus what the pipeline guys make. And then I realized that this is a niche that I like, on top of the fact that it makes good money. So I'm not in it just for the money. But hey, it's a path. Who knows if I'll actually make it or not? But the whole point of row access is you're here on YouTube. You probably follow some other pipeline welder, some other pipeline helper, or whatever it may be, weld channel. You got to social media, found us, and I realized just as well as I do. You see, all of the, I'm going to call them internet famous welders, that you're familiar with. Like here I have a Wally's Welding World hoodie on, Industrial Tradition, both that's owned by Austin Ross, if you don't know. Both stand-up, awesome people. I've conversed with them a lot, which I'll get to shortly. But anyhow, you see those guys and any other welders, Jake Schofield, you got Chasm Welding, Field Res, or Travis Fields, all these cool, outstanding guys, Weld Tube, any of those people, all of them are already welders. And so for the most part, you don't see any welder helper channels. I just realized, you can't see my face. Sorry, Austin, taking your hat off. You don't see any helpers doing channels. And if you do, it's only like a short blurb or so. And everybody that's a welder is like, hey, this is what I did back in my day, so you should do it too. And I felt like I like the video stuff enough. I'm pretty good into photography. I like shooting video and doing odds and ends, doing vlogs. I actually have a personal vlog. Oh, God, camera going all crazy. Come on. Yeah. So I actually have a personal vlog that has some travel videos and stuff on it that I've done while I've lived here in Germany. Unfortunately, due to some other family stuff is why I ended up having to move back a little early. I was planning on being here for 3 years, and I've only been here for a year, but that's neither here nor there. So anyhow, I decided to step away from my current field. I'm a clinical pharmacy technician. I'm working mostly in an admin position at a headquarters level, which has been fantastic work. I love the people. I love the job. I love being in Europe. But I'm kind of checked out with healthcare, and I want to do something else. And I miss working with my hands and getting that fulfilling feeling of building something and then later being able to point it out and say like, oh yeah, I remember when we built this or built that. That's always going to be there for the most part. So anyhow, I just felt like there was a niche there that nobody had really done a street guide to Rig Welder channel. And so I'm here to make it completely visible on what it takes to go from literally nothing to Rig Welder. So we'll see how it works. So there's no guarantees here. I have nothing. Nobody's offering me a job. I promise you I cannot downhill weld pipe. So we'll see how it goes. But I wanted to bring kind of some awareness to the whole process, how to get you there. And I'll be doing some of these videos in the podcast type format, sitting here at the mic talking, and the rest of it, I hope once I get back in about 30 days, will be from out there working. So I just to bring you up to speed, back in about May is when all of this kind of got started. I started trying to figure out how do I get into pipeline welding. So I started YouTubing, Googling, like after my buddy told me, yo, you should check out being a welder. If you like doing this kind of stuff, it makes more money and whatever, you probably like it since you already can weld. So I Google, like pipeline welding. And the first thing comes up is Austin Ross's channel. And I absolutely love his videos, very informative on how to handle the lifestyle, and that's a big part of it. A lot of people, again, straight in it for the money. They're like, oh, I can do this, that, and the other. And in the same way, a lot of people view the military. It's like, you can do anything for money, but can you handle the rest of it? And so Austin does a really good job of explaining a lot of the outside facets to it. He's very much not so much like hands-on how to do, fit up stuff or how to do weld stuff. It's mostly all, like hands-off type deal on how to handle the rest of your life. Because, there's plenty of people out there. You got like Bob Moffat and like Weldmonger, all of them doing these huge channels on welding specific stuff. Whereas not a lot of people were doing that outside of work type stuff. And so here my plan was to kind of bring the whole thing full circle, start to finish, how I got from literally today where I'm a nobody up to being a rig welder. So I found Austin on YouTube, started following him along, and then that ran me into Wally. I found Wally's YouTube, and then I was like, man, I wonder if these guys are on Instagram. And so, of course, they're both on Instagram. I started following them, getting in their content, and started seeing, like, hey, maybe I can network this way since I'm overseas. There's no way I can meet these people really, at least for now. Granted, this is May. At this point, I hadn't even really been solidified on if I could even come home yet, but I was like, it'd be worth it as an investment for my future. So I started Instagramming with people, trying to see who I could meet, just talk to. And I just started, like replying to comments or whatever, like we're commenting on people's posts, or when, they ask questions, you respond to them. And I log into Instagram one day and I get a follow back, and Wally's Welding World followed me back. And so I was messaged him back like, holy crap, dude, this is awesome. Like, I'm a nobody, but thanks for following me. And he's like, yo, I dig your vibe. Like, great work. Like, I like your pictures, whatever. Thanks for all the comments and the support. And so from there, Wally and I have become pretty good internet friends at this point. We talk pretty routinely. And he's been a really fantastic resource for getting my feet wet as possible from this part. Like, we talk a lot. He's one of the big inspirations on why I'm sitting here right now, Austin as well. But as time progressed, the more people I started talking to, the more people I started meeting on the internet. And then Austin opened up this great channel, his own social media network. So it's called The Inner Circle. It is a paid service, but through my workings with Austin, I actually applied into like the early entry into the program, and then I was selected out of a group of however God knows many people that are in there to be a VIP member. So it's great, like I've been able to help him foster some of the initial parts of it. I got an early entry, so we were able to kind of register and give them any feedback on how the registration process went. But anyhow, the Inner Circle is a great community. I'll be talking more about it later. and other videos on how it is a great resource. There's a lot of rig welders in there. There's helpers. There's people like me that are completely disconnected. There's union welders. There's non-union welders. There's people posting their welds for critiques. There's people asking for equipment recommendations. I have been contributing a good bit to like the finance portion, just trying to help people understand budgeting, because that's a big thing. You know, you go from making whatever you're making, 20, 30, 40, 50, 80,000 to 180,000 or whatever it may be. It's a lot of money, and not a lot of people are able to transition and help manage it well. So I've been Googling my way through life, trying to figure out how to best handle finances, and I found a lot of financial communities on the internet that offer lots of free resources, and so I've just been trying to bring awareness to those too. Anyhow, so I internet met Wally and Austin, which then turned into Travis Fields. He and I started talking, and then he followed me back on Instagram, so now we're pretty good buddies. And then Travis is like, hey man, you should come to this thing called FabTech. And I'm like, FabTech sounds cool. I don't know what it is, but I know that's a company that makes truck lifts. And so I Google it. It ends up being this huge fabrication and welding expo. So Saturday, I fly to the States. I'm actually going to go to FabTech now. Travis talked me into it, so thanks, Travis. And he's like, yeah, man, it's been great talking to you and looking forward to meeting you. So come, hang out at the Weld 2 booth and meet up with us. And so it just kind of spread like wildfire. Like once you start talking to one person, and like, I'm not out to get anything from anybody. I don't ask for any handouts. I just literally comment back on people's stuff. Like, whatever. They post a weld, I'm like, great work, and it's not like I'm out there fishing for anything. And it's crazy because if you start looking at these people, outside looking in, you look at all these people's Instagrams, Facebooks, YouTube, whatever, and people are in there like, yo, give me a job. Yo, hook me up with a job. Yo, I'll be your helper. And it's like, would you just walk up to some random, I don't know, would you go to a hospital and they're like, yo, I'm a nurse, give me a job? No. So why are you treating Instagram that way? Like, because you can hide behind a computer and you're just like, oh yeah, let me get a job, dog. But so it's super comical. I have been super humble, and I'm super humbled by the fact that I have been good as friends with Wally as I have. Wally has been fantastic. Austin's been fantastic. They've both been big supporters of me starting this Row Access page, and they've been giving me little tips and tricks on, things to do. So I'm super excited to see where it goes. For the outlook forward, again, I'm looking to document my process going from literally completely unrelated job all the way into being a rig welder, which hopefully will be in the next year or two. Through that process, I'm looking to try equipment, see what works for me, see what works for the welders, try to review things, because there's people out there, like a lot of people may not have the ability to buy as much equipment, or, you can't afford to buy 12 different sets of gloves before you find one that works, or 5 different welding hoods, or to this TIG torch or that TIG torch or that stinger or this stinger, or, like things like that. So I'm looking to get into kind of that review part of it, like see what I can get my hands on over this course of the process, see what I like. And then as I transition into the welding piece more, try to do some how I learned welding, how I learned a downhill weld, how I learned these different positions. And then I can give you the helper perspective into learning welding, and it's not like I come with any knowledge. So I'm literally going the non-school route, the apprenticeship way, in hopefully a non-union job. More to come on that later. I have, at the current moment, solidified a job back in the States that I have picked up from Instagram. Literally just talking to people. I'm not going to put anybody on the spot or try to burn any bridges or anything. But you guys will see. Stay tuned. The next 30 days I head back, and I start shortly after. So 45-ish days. And I'll be out on the road with my own stuff and truck and out there trying to learn what I can learn and bring it to you guys. So I guess to wrap up, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So if you see this and you're a company that might have something that you're willing to have me review or test out or whatever, let me know. I'm surely going to be buying all sorts of stuff. So hit me up if you have a product that you want tested. Gladly will throw it on YouTube and Instagram and whatever else and share it with anybody that I can. But I guess that'll be it. Hopefully I'm going to be able to do this thing kind of weekly-ish, and then we'll see. Again, I'm transitioning a lot over the next 30 days, moving back across the Atlantic to the United States. I will be at FabTech next week, so if you see me, I'll be looking like this. Wally's Welding World hoodie and Industrial Tradition hat, unless it gets super hot in there, and then who knows what you might see. But anyhow, I'll be at FabTech next week. I'll be probably linking up with some of the people that I've met up again, like Jake Schofield and Clay Chesum from Australia, and Travis Fields from Alberta, Canada, and then I've linked up with Bob Moffat online, a whole bunch of other people. Abraham from WeldTube, the WeldTube page, I've talked with them a good bit. They follow me back on Instagram, and I'm just a nobody. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot, so then maybe they might unfollow me now. But anyway, I hope to grow this thing into something huge and just bring education to you guys and anybody else that's in the same position. You know, I want to prove that people do go from nobody to Rig Welder, and I'll be meeting up with people that I've met online, and after that, I'm headed down to Colorado and link up with some other people. I'm going to link up with Wally, and because that's actually where I'm moving back to. Move back to Colorado. I'm going to link up with Wally because he actually lives like 20 minutes away from me. Never knew until recently that he even existed, so that's cool. I'm going to link up with him and do some talking, maybe try to get a little podcast episode or something, get a little YouTube video done while I'm there, and you know, see what he's got to contribute to my journey and what he has to say. And then after that, I'm going to link up with Jed Schofield, Jake's brother. So if you know Jake, Jed used to be his helper, and he's now welding out on his own. Jed and Dan are not going to FabTech, so I'll get to link up with them, try to grab a beer or something while I'm home, and then I fly back here for a couple of weeks, and then I'm back permanently. So plan to do some videos from FabTech, at FabTech, vlog thing for post-FabTech, linking up with Wally, Jed, Dan, whoever else I can meet along the way, and then when I get back to the States, we'll definitely be trying to be doing weekly things on things that I've learned, you know, whatever, and then we'll see how it grows. So stay tuned. Peace.